So a good friend of mine that I trust implicitly and who I confide in when I'm having any kind of issues shared her name, referred me in to Amy. So that was how I found her to begin with. So I've had just an ongoing sort of lifelong struggle with anxiety. Takes different shapes and forms at different stages of my life. And at the point that I confided in this good friend of mine who had previously seen Amy, I was at a space where panic attacks were sort of coming more regularly. I just wasn't feeling safe in my own body. So when I drove up and rang the doorbell and she opened the door, there was an immediate connection. I felt like I saw light, and that feels really good when you're looking to talk to someone that is going to help you find safety and light within yourself. So it felt really nice. It was a nice surprise. I told myself a story about what might happen, what it might be like, and it was so much better. It was in fact, I've had a hard time describing not just that first encounter with Amy, but every meeting thereafter, every session thereafter, because the experience itself just won't lend itself to vocabulary. So that I find myself describing things that I sort of saw, but in a way that I felt, so that the entire time my eyes are closed. That tends to be sort of my comfortable place. But so I'm not visually experiencing something, but yet all of the senses sort of come together that sort of make that whole experience. So it's really, really hard to describe. And I think maybe it's special and different for every person based on your own energy, based on your own history, your own story. But for me, the first step in getting in touch with Amy and setting up an appointment was to go through her website. And I have to say, it was probably one of the hardest things to do, to read a description of a service and then pick one of many great services that all sound like things you could benefit from for that first encounter. You know, following the session, Amy shared with me some of what came up, and she said that one of the things she saw, this is huge because I've had a number of dreams about this very thing happening. I was in my dream, I'm, maybe 6 years old, something like that. And I'm dying, and I'm dying, and I'm on an old white bed, well, white sheets, white linens everywhere. And it's a recurring dream. I've had this dream a number of times, and there's sheer panic in me about this upcoming passing. And when I came to see Amy that first session, she at the conclusion said something that she saw was that I was a child and that I was dying, and I was dying of something maybe like scarlet fever, something from another time. And so, the connection she helped me make in sharing that with me was that, the anxiety, the panic that I have felt for years around dying, not necessarily having to do with that dream at all, but just in general, it maybe didn't belong to me. It maybe belonged to another time. And so kind of knowing that it explains the familiarity of the feeling, my owning that experience. Here I'd been telling myself, no, I'm having this dream and I feel it really real because it's going to happen to me. I was thinking it was premonitory in some way. And maybe it was just a recollection, like a soul memory. So knowing that struggle had already been sort of lived out meant that maybe I could choose to let it go in this life. So if you're seeing this, you might be looking for something very specific in a healing experience. And maybe like me, you have no idea what it is you're looking for, but you're open and you're ready. And if that is the case, I can't recommend anyone more highly than I recommend Amy to guide you through your first energy healing experience, whatever that might look like. My heart knew that it was all going to be okay and what it wanted and what it was looking for, but there were so many stories in my head, old stories, things that I came to this experience with, and so I would say don't let any of that stop you from getting what you need out of this experience.